Hey everybody, welcome to another Songwriter SESH. This month, our guest is John Lawton from the Chevre band.
That is correct.
Yeah, I've seen you guys a few times. It's a lot of fun.
Yeah, I really appreciate you coming out to the Frederick Arts Council show. That was a real labor of love on my part. You have friends around town that play music, and sometimes the only time that you get to see them play is if you put on a show. Yeah. So that was Chevre, Plaid the Buffalo, my friend JB, and the Dirty Metal, my friend Adrian Smith. And, we just did our thing up there, and I think it was a good night.
You know, that building that was just sold.
I did see that.
They just sold it, so we'll have to figure out what they're going to do from
I don't know. You know, the choices are getting more and more limited in this town, but, we're trying to make it work.
Let's keep pushing.
Yeah.
That's kind of my goal, is just don't take no for an answer sometimes, Just keep finding places that'll have us. And
it's all about building relationships with venues. I've found, I quit my full-time job about 2 years ago and have been doing music pretty much full-time for the past 2 years. And that's my biggest thing, is that anybody that will have me out and pay our band to play, I value immensely, and I always try and be flexible with whatever they need us to do. But those relationships are paramount.
And your band is great. I'm just going to come out and say, Eric is so much fun. I don't know how he does all those sounds out of that.
Eric, so he's talking about Eric DeLaunt, our 7-string violinist, and Eric is absolutely one of the most talented musicians I've ever met, and he is also at the same time one of the most humble and always second guesses himself. Yeah. But I think that
comes through. It's interesting to come see that you guys have a lot of talent together with just 3 people. And the sound that comes out of just 3 people, I was blown away at that Frederick Arts. I was like, where's this coming from?
That's the goal. Eric plays 7-string violin, and in the trio setting, we have a drummer whose name is John Long, and he also sings backup vocals on a lot of stuff. And the goal has always been to see how much sound we can create out of 3 people. And we had a few bass players throughout the years, but they were always in like a bunch of different projects, or they lived too far away to be able to rehearse every week. And so Eric was like, man, it's kind of been on my bucket list to try and play bass lines on my 7-string. So we've just been doing that for the past 2 years, is just trying.
It's really different, and I think, just my opinion, you guys sound way better that way than you could have with any bass player you could have found.
Yeah, I think the largest band size we had for a minute was 5 people. We had this guy, Jimmy Griffith, playing harmonica and singing some lead and some backup stuff. And Eric was playing just straight violin for a while. And now I really enjoy, because a lot of the bands that I'm influenced by, Stevie Ray Vaughan, Hendrix, Zeppelin, The Police, like a lot of those bands are really at their core just a 3-piece. Yeah. And it really makes you focus your sound, and it gets me away from like noodling. I've been taking jazz lessons from Ken Bussey of Janyata Pinata for like 3 months to just try and keep up with Eric, honestly.
Yeah, well, I imagine that's hard, but you guys sound great.
Thank you.
How did you get into, songwriting? Because on this show we like to, the band is great, but it's a vehicle for you, and they're really coming through. Your songs come through with that trio sound that
they are. So like my mentality with the band is that I get players that I respect, and I'll never tell them what to play until I hear something I don't like, and then I'll just tell them that I don't like that. Right. And can we try something else? But the songwriting aspect came in about 14 years ago, and I started writing lyrics, and I've always been really interested in poetry, and just like literature in general was always my biggest thing in school. And so when I started writing lyrics for the first time, I was like, well, I don't really want anybody else singing this besides me. And so it forced me to, learn how to sing and play guitar at the same time. And that's not, something to you
try to do harder and harder things. Yeah. You start just strumming some chords, and that's not so bad. G, C, D, and you're singing. but you start putting a little lick in here and there, and then, but you get better the more you do it, right?
Yeah.
You
I mean, the very first thing that I just wanted to do was to play blues because of Stevie Ray Vaughn.
Yeah.
So I just went to Music and Arts and picked up, the Blues 101 and just like learned how to do the...
Yeah.
And then, it went from there, just learning how to express myself more on an instrument that I could also play chords and back myself.
Yeah. Have you ever been to South Oak Cliff then?
I have not.
Okay, that's where he got his start. That was South Oak Cliff, Texas.
Okay.
South of Dallas.
Okay. I did not know that.
Yeah, there's that whole area.
I gotta go back and reread the biography.
Probably play Deep Ellum and places where I used to play Deep Ellum down in Dallas. That was kind of the scene down there, but he was before me.
Yeah,
before I was playing down there. But yeah, the poetry, the lyrical thing, when you're writing, it is really hard to let somebody else sing it, isn't it?
It is, and it's something that my dad has brought up like a number of times. He's like, "Why don't you sell, like Whiskey in My Tea is a song that I wrote," and he was like, "Why don't you sell that to somebody?" And I'm like, "Oh God, I think it's the ego just hasn't broken yet. Maybe another dose of mushrooms will get us there." But
well, we'll talk about this later. But I grew up in Nashville around a lot of famous songwriters, and some of them, have their approach to it that they can do it with integrity and they do it to forward another artist. That's kind of their goal.
Yeah.
But there's a lot of writers in Nashville that they always talk about, I'm trying to get a cut. I'm trying to get a cut, And I found myself in that scenario trying to say, well, I don't really want to write a song that I'm sitting here thinking, oh, if somebody else sang that song, it would be good.
Yeah.
Like, I'm trying to tell a different kind of story. It sounds like you're the same.
I am. My wife tells me that a lot of my lyrics are very, have a lot of imagery in them. And I'm always trying to paint a picture, whether it's with words or with sounds. Chevre is a very, we call ourselves psychedelic roots rock for your funk hole, because we play so many different genres, but we're also just trying to paint pictures with sound all the time.
Yeah, and you do. So speaking of the lyrical part, we picked a cover song we want to do. It's part of our format here, but we're going to start with this John Prine song, because talk about a lyrical genius, right?
Oh, absolutely. 100%. Yeah, I was introduced to John Prine by my cousins Natalie and Tara, who played for many, many years in Frederick's favorite bluegrass band, the Yard Slippers. And they would play a whole bunch of John Prine stuff. And, when you're a young guy,
I'm having a hard time remembering that, to be honest.
You might not take to things right away, but then you find out, maybe a few years later that it's like, oh, okay, then it sinks in.
Yeah.
And I think I really turned the page with John Prine when I watched a movie called Leaves of Grass with Edward Norton. Have you seen that?
Isn't that a book too?
It is, by Walt Whitman.
Yes, yes.
But the soundtrack to Leaves of Grass has a whole bunch of Prine on there, as well as a whole bunch of Little Feat, and between those two, you can't really go wrong.
Well, so, I'd like to watch that movie. I'll have to
really
check
great
it out
movie.
now.
Yeah,
I like Ed Norton too.
He plays twin brothers.
Okay,
it's amazing. The acting, the soundtrack, the writing is all just it's a hidden gem for sure.
Well, let's share everybody what we figured out on this John Prine song together.
Sure.
Let's do.
I'm an old woman named after my mother. My old man's another child that's grown home. If dreams were lightning, thunder were desire, this old house would have burned down a long time ago. Make me an angel that fast from Montgomery. Make me a poster of an old rodeo. Just give me one thing that I can hold on to. 'Cause to believe in this living is just hard way to go. When I was younger, I had me a cowboy. What much to look at, just free rambling man. That was a long time, and no matter how I tried, the years just flow by like broken down dam. Make me an angel that flies from Montgomery. Make me a poster of an old rodeo. Just give me one thing that I can hold on to. 'Cause to believe in this living is just hard way to go. Go ahead. Go again. There's flies in the kitchen, yeah, I can hear them buzzing. But I ain't done nothing since I woke up today. How the hell can a person go to work in the morning, come home in the evening and have nothing to say? Make me an angel that flies from Montgomery. Make me a poster of an old rodeo. Just give me one thing that I can hold on to. 'Cause to believe in this living is just a hard way to go.
All right, John, for this next song, we're going to do one of your songs, which I'm excited about.
Yeah, this is actually the first song that I ever wrote. It was about 14 years ago now. Mm-hmm. And the lyrics were inspired by my late aunt, who told me to, never waste your time. You don't know how much time you have.
Right.
And that has always stuck with me, so I try and value every minute that I put into this music, and the song's called "Wasted Waiting."
Ah, okay. Mm-hmm. So, but you're not really wasting anything, are you?
No, it's just like the chorus kind of talks about, I think it's kind of, I was thinking about this the other day, that it's like an insight into my anxiety, where it's like, have you ever felt like the world was too right?
No, not
and you
ever.
stood on your toes, waiting for it to go wrong?
No, never felt that way, for sure.
I think it's just like one of those feelings where you're like waiting for the other shoe to drop.
Yeah.
And you can't live your life that way.
Do you know who Patti Smythe is?
I don't.
Punk rocker from the 80s.
No.
She had a song called Because the Night that was a Bruce Springsteen song.
Uh-huh.
So she was in that punk scene, but they asked her once about suicide because I had depression or something.
Yep.
He said, what about suicide? She said, no. She said, I never think about that. I want to know what happens next.
Mm.
And ever since I heard that, I've been thinking about that waiting. Are we just waiting around, or Townes Van Zandt has waiting around to die? But are we waiting, or are we just is every moment not waiting. We're doing something.
Yeah,
we're
that's
doing
true.
this right now.
Yeah, I'm not sitting here waiting to play the next show. I'm sitting here trying to be in the moment with you.
Yeah. Same here. Like this is. I used to think this was like a promo thing or whatever, but this is really becoming as much fun as anything I do. Was sitting down with songwriters like you and getting to experience your talent in this little studio room we work in here. But getting to play together. I mean, I'm not a great player, but I get to play with folks that come in here.
Ken, I've played with way worse people than you, man.
Okay, well, thanks for making me feel a little bit
yourself,
better.
Man. Yeah.
But my point is, I don't worry about it. I try to do my best to help each other, sound good and just have fun with it.
Yeah. Yeah, getting back to kind of the reason for going full-time music is just because I love the music so much. The stuff that inspires me. I just love listening to music, discovering new things, and I'm always trying to learn more.
Yeah. I mean, every new song you write's an exploration. I bet your last song's so different than this first one.
It is. Yeah, 100%. Yeah, I don't even, it's not. It's funny because lately at shows, I'll play the most recent song I wrote directly after this one.
Well, it's funny. The core things stick with you, right? Like the core things that like you have a sound or you develop a sound, and sometimes you go back. Sometimes you're like pushing yourself to write new songs or new.
I find that a lot of times when I'm writing is because I'm trying to express a genre that I like, or I'm trying to learn something new. Like I'm trying to sing while I'm playing a reggae rhythm, or
That's hard.
It's very hard. I only do 2 songs like that because it's that hard.
We've got one called Lost in London, and my drummer's from Jamaica.
Okay.
And so he's always like, Ken, play the reggae thing. I'm like,
play it.
I'm trying my best to do it. I just can't. I can do it when I'm just playing guitar.
Sure.
I can't do it and sing.
And then there's multiple, many rhythms within that genre of how to play it. And like I love a band called Dispatch. Do you know Dispatch?
No, I don't know them.
So
you're teaching me a bunch of new bands tonight I got to check out.
They were a big part of the DIY movement in the early 2000s, and they ended up having the Guinness record for the most attendance at an independent music show.
Oh, cool.
And it was at their breakup, their first breakup.
They had more than
one. But they do a lot of like some reggae stuff, and he just plays it in a totally different rhythm than I would, and there's all sorts of music out there, and you can never get enough.
Well, that's one good thing about being a songwriter is you decide how you want it to go.
100%. Some songs are like they want to be based around just a specific sound or a vibe or something, and some songs will just turn out to be just instrumentals, and I value those as much as I value the ones with lyrics. And sometimes I end up writing lyrics, and that's going to be the main focus of the song, and just trying to figure out what's the music supposed to sound like under that.
This song has a lot of lyric to it, but seeing you play live, I've noticed that about your music, that it's not you're not just writing the lyric and then filling in with some miscellaneous licks.
It's got to fit.
You are writing the whole song. That guitar part has an intention in it.
It does.
I noticed that about your songs.
Thank you.
They definitely have intention to the different parts you put in.
I absolutely do. And, I listen to a lot of different music, and you'll hear forms from all different genres, and that really influences me, like being able to make a song kind of be like a movie in that it has a beginning, a middle, and an end, and like really when you finish a song it should feel like you really got something out of it.
Well, and you're more like the Coen brothers. You write the specific dialogue that you want the performers to play.
And the Coen brothers are definitely some of my favorite filmmakers out there.
Well, let's do this song of yours called
Wasted Waiting.
Wasted Waiting.
so far, it's not going that way. Have you ever felt that the world was too right, and you stood on your toes, waiting for it to go wrong? Well, the wait goes longer, and still I got nothing but wasted time on my hands. Hey, hey, hey. Have you ever felt that the world was too right, and you stood on your toes, waiting for it to go wrong? Bring it back, yeah, bring it back to me. The time I wish I had. Could you bring that back to me? Go ahead. I spent half my life waiting on the other, and now all I have is wasted time on my hands. So bring it back, yeah, bring it back to me. The time I wish I had. Could you bring that back to me? Yeah. Oh, yeah, yeah, yeah. Very nice.
Cool, that was fun.
Yeah, man. Well, Ken, tell me about this song. Katie's covering up.
Oh, you're interviewing me.
Well, you asked me about my song. I'd like to
Yeah.
know some more about your song.
Well,
what's your approach?
It's kind of
on
the
this?
origins. I just put it on this album when I moved up here called Boomerang.
Okay.
And I always wanted to do this song. It was one of the first songs. There was 2 songs that I brought to my early band Mercy Service.
Okay.
It was the first time. It's a long story. I didn't play music till I was 35 years old.
Okay.
I mean, I played in the bedroom by my,
Sure.
and I was
But with other people?
not with other people.
Yeah.
I did in high school. I
Okay.
had rock band in high school. Then went off, went to college, did everything. I didn't play on a stage again until I was 35.
Gotcha.
And I found this band Mercy Service, and we made that album with, we were talking about earlier, with the Rob Wexler.
Oh, man.
Andy Timmons producer.
Yeah, that was, he was I feel like he was like my modern connection to blues playing, because he comes from Texas and like, you know,
he's actually from like Indiana.
Has
like,
the whole sunburst thing going on. And I don't know. I just found that there was like a link to me between him and Stevie.
Here we go.
Yeah.
Yeah, and he plays Stevie great.
He plays everything great.
He does. I was really lucky.
Andy Timmons is one of the baddest guys out there.
I was really lucky. He played on 5 or 6 songs on that first album.
Yeah, I'm gonna go back and listen to those tonight.
And they just, I mean, we actually had trouble because we had Andy play on the album, and this is a bit of a. I'm gonna do a memorial to someone. Then we said, okay, what we're gonna do? We're gonna have to go play live. And we did auditions, and this fellow named Leroy Smith walked in. Could play.
Name sounds familiar.
Well, probably not. But Leroy could play like Stevie Ray, and Leroy could play like Andy Timmons, and he just smoked everything he played. I was like, well, we found our guy.
Yeah.
He was a young guy. We were in our 30s, and he was in his 20s.
Okay.
And he loved playing with us. Unfortunately, Leroy was either committed suicide or murdered. We're not sure which one it was. Right in the middle of Boomerang album. If you go to my YouTube channel, you'll hear a song called Spooky Walk.
Okay.
And he played some killer guitar parts on it. So I just want to take a minute to remember Leroy here in this show. So thanks for asking. I thought he should play on this song too. This Katie's Covering Up. He always wailed on it, but unfortunately passed before we were able to do it. And my friend,
it's a pretty interesting progression in there.
Yeah.
Was that like intentional? Did you have any sort of like thought about like, okay, like these are some chords that I want to see if I can put together? Nice.
You know, that's where it started with I was just playing with two finger, chords.
Nice.
So I just came up with that, and it was kind of a sticky song because I didn't think I was the singer of the band. You've been there before, right?
I've been there before, yeah, man.
So we had this band going. We were sounding pretty good. We were having fun, and I was writing these songs, and they're like, all I gotta do is find the singer. All I gotta do is find it. Finally, the guys just said, Ken, you're the singer.
Yeah.
And that happened with Katie, because Katie was one of the first of 2 songs. One is These Days, which is on the Mercy Service album, and got some radio play in Texas and Dallas.
Nice, man.
And it was probably our best song. Andy wails on it, but it was a really, really good song. And then this Katie song was the other one we were messing around with, but we never recorded it. So I finally did it here in Maryland, and my friend that I played on in some bands in Texas with, Jeff Gruber, played guitar on that song.
Okay, I was gonna ask about it's pretty interesting, like electric sound. It sounds almost like maybe it's a baritone.
It's an octaver, I think.
Oh, okay, that's what it is.
I never know with Jeff. He's
really
a very
cool
creative, very creative guitar player, very creative singer and songwriter.
I'm just gonna do my best.
Yeah, well, you're gonna do just fine. So let's do Katie's Covering Up, and
sounds good.
I'll get us started. 1, 2, 3, 4. Your friend Katie's such a trip. She's always giving somebody grief, something to go off on. When you think you're sick of it, she offers some relief and breaks you down and finds the things that you are soft on. Wanna put your finger on it, what she's got now, we all want it. She may be warm inside, but Katie finds a way to hide it. Katie's covering up again, making it hard to be a friend. She won't ever let you in. Katie's covering up. Katie's covering up. Katie's covering up again.
mention her old man. Katie quickly changes the subject and pretends she doesn't hear you. Oh, she tried to make him see. She turned out to be everything he said she could never be. She lives in constant fear her perfect life will disappear. Blames it on someone else, she'd never take it on herself. Katie's covering up again, making it hard to be her friend. She won't ever let you in. Katie's covering up. Katie's covering up. Katie's covering up again. 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 Let's go, John. Katie's covering up again. Katie's covering up again. Katie's covering up again. Yeah, 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 yeah. Katie's covering up again.
Nice playing, John.
Thanks, man.
You had
It's
that.
a really
you had
fun,
that Hendrix thing going, which is I've always thought would be good on that song.
It's a really fun song to play on, man. Thank
Cool.
you.
Maybe we'll do it live sometime.
Sounds good.
All right. Hey, well, thanks for joining us, John. Where can we check you out and playing about?
Well, you can find out everything you need to know at chevre.me. That's CHEVRE.me.
All right, check that out. Come to the shows. It's worth your time. We'll see you next time.
Thanks for having me, Ken.
You're welcome.